Hi, I'm Lynne Matallana. I'm the founder and president of the National Fibromyalgia Association and the founder and president of Community Health Focus. And I'm here today to speak about the patient's perspective of pain research and clinical endpoints. I'm really pleased to be here today because I've spent 23 years of my life being an advocate for patients. And it's so exciting to see how things are changing and evolving so that patients are having much more of an input into the medical world and what is happening to them in clinical research, in the endpoints for treatments, and just getting them to the place where they feel like they're having the ability to share their opinions and insights. So I've had 23 years of working with patients, but I thought that maybe it would be more helpful to all of you if I brought a certain group of patients together and asked them what their current thoughts are about pain research. So I did a survey with 1,000 pain patients, and today I'm going to share the outcome of that survey. So first of all, what we asked was, have they participated in clinical trials? And if not, would they? We also asked who has participated, so wanting to find out who were those people that have participated, and what was their experience? Was it positive or negative? And then we asked them, what direction should pain research go? And what should be the endpoints? And what should be the things that we are looking for and trying to prove? And then finally, we asked them, what it was that they might want to share with you, the researcher, so that they would be able to feel that the researchers know exactly what they're thinking about and the things that maybe have caused them concern or made them feel uncomfortable about things that were being looked at. So first of all, of this 1,000 people, how many had participated in a clinical trial before? Of this group, it was 14% had been a part of a drug study. But what was interesting was the fact that 35% of them said that they wished they'd had the opportunity to be a part of a drug study. There were 5.56% that had participated in a medical device study, but 49% of them said had they been given the opportunity, they would want to participate in a medical device study. 11.67% said they had participated in a complementary or alternative or lifestyle study, but there were 65% that said they wished they'd had the opportunity to participate in that kind of study. So what does this tell us? This tells us that these patients that want to participate are not being asked and are not being found and being given the opportunity to participate. And so we find that what we're hearing from those people who had participated, that they had participated in many different research studies and surveys and clinical trials. And so we're getting some of the same people participating over and over. Those people who would like to participate aren't getting the opportunity. So we need to look at recruitment. We need to make better options and better ways of finding people who maybe will represent a different group of people with different needs and different outcomes. So we keep talking about the fact that, the recruitment isn't good, but why is that? Well, those people who participated over and over again said that they had no other means to try other things. So for example, they didn't have the funds to try acupuncture or to maybe be able to go out and do some type of cognitive behavior therapy. Whereas others were able to do that, so they didn't feel the necessity to be a part of a clinical trial, where some people felt that was their only option to have some type of new treatment to be able to try. The other thing was time. Many people who work or have family responsibilities weren't able to take the time to participate. So again, you have these different people that are participating, and we need to make sure that there is a more and better representation of people with chronic pain taking part in the research. So who does participate? As I mentioned, it's a small group of people that may not be representative. Not every person in pain is the same though. And this is where we really need to take some credence into what is happening, because with these pain patients, not everyone has the same kind of pain. Not everyone has had pain for the same duration or the same amount of time. Some of the people's personalities are very different. You can have those that look at things very catastrophically and others who can be very positive and open. They also have different responses to medication. Some people, medication can be, just a small amount of a medication can have a huge effect, and others may need more medication to have any effect at all. And then finally, they report that many people have different ideas. We now have 46% of these patients saying they do not want a pill. Whereas back in 2000, when I did this survey, 97% of the patients said all they wanted was a pill. So we have to look at what we're researching. And I know drug trials are very important. We know the medicine is important, but we also have to look at the other types of treatments that these patients are looking for and want. So should we take the time to consider the differences between these groups of patients that have pain, but maybe look at them at different subsets? And through that, we would be able to have better outcomes if we knew some of these variations within the pain population. Then, do people behave the same way when they're part of a clinical trial? We found the answer as being no, adamantly no, because many people will do things that they do not realize could actually change the protocol. Some people said they started to exercise. Some people said they didn't have a problem with taking supplements. Others said that they were even dealing with emotional situations, financial problems, or problems with their spouse. And all of those things could affect the outcomes of the study. They also said that by being in a study, it made them feel good because they felt like they were contributing. And so that could have an effect on how they felt, and maybe even think it was the medication or the medical device that they were testing. And actually, it was just kind of a response to being a part of a clinical study. So how do people think about what they need to do and how they should participate in a clinical study? Well, these results really surprised me. 8.26% said they did not believe that they had to follow the protocol. And 10.87% said that they had lied on an online survey because they didn't want to admit the truth, or they didn't want the study to turn out a certain way, and they wanted to make sure that the study had a good result. And then finally, 14.5% said that they wouldn't opt out of a study even if they couldn't follow the protocol. So these percentages tell us that many people that are participating in clinical trials are not actually giving us the results that we need because they aren't being consistent with the protocol, and they may even be lying on the surveys. So should these people be screened out? Probably, but how do we do that? So it's something there that we would need to look at, because those things could have a huge effect on the outcomes. Then what was the patient's experience? It was interesting because over 76% said being a part of a drug clinical trial or a medical device study was a very positive thing for them. They felt that it gave them an opportunity to be heard. We kept hearing that word. I wanted to be heard, and I felt like I was being heard. The pain patients feel very strongly that they've been ignored. And any time that their opinions can be heard, they're very, very pleased. So that was a big part of it. They also felt that it was nice to know that there were people who cared enough to be researching their pain. And most people do not realize or have any idea that the research that is going on is happening. And I think that it could be very positive for patients to know that there are so many people who do care and are trying to do clinical research, which is really going to improve these patients' quality of life. And then they also said that it felt really good to have these people listening to them. People with pain oftentimes, every time they complain or every time they talk about their pain, people look at it as a negative. So having someone listen to them and hear what they were saying meant a lot to them. And it was different than being in a doctor's office, because oftentimes patients report that being in a doctor's office is where they tell the doctor what's going on, excuse me, but they don't always feel that they are being heard. So that was another positive. But there were many negatives about being a part of a study as well that definitely need to be evaluated. First of all, they didn't understand everything that was being told to them. Because of their pain, they felt that their cognition problems and things like that maybe skewed what they were being told. Sometimes they said that the medical language was too difficult to understand, and they felt like if they asked questions, they weren't always answered. So many of these patients felt that in order to be able to better participate, they would need help in being able to express themselves and or being able to understand the instructions they were being given. They also said that they felt that the fact that they had to travel a long distance was very negative. Many of them said their pain got worse. So by the time they were trying to be a part of something, it was hard to express themselves, again, because of their cognition, or it was difficult because they hurt so much they couldn't see that what was being done was having any positive effect. So travel is a big problem. They also said that traveling long distance was often a requirement, and they oftentimes needed a family member to travel with them or to take them. One person even reported, their husband had to always take off work. So if there were ways that studies could be done more remotely, or even go to the patient, or find places, other institutions that would house these people for doing research so they wouldn't have to travel so far, all could be beneficial. One of the things that these patients also felt was that they thought that if they participated in a new treatment, that they would automatically be able to use that new treatment if it worked. And many people didn't realize that research takes a lot of time, and maybe they would never even be able, the medication or the device would never even be approved, and they would never have access to it. And that oftentimes caused these people to feel hopeless. So making sure that people understood ahead of time what the length of the study was and how it was going to impact their life would be very helpful. They also felt like they were not a team member. They felt like sometimes they used the word guinea pig, that they were just there to, offer themselves as a way to find out answers. But they wanted to be a part of the team. They wanted to feel that they were contributing, they wanted to feel valued, and they wanted to feel like they were appreciated. One person mentioned that they were actually given a $25 Amazon gift card at the end of a study. And they said it was silly because it was not, of huge value, but it just made them feel like the people noticed that they were there participating and they deserved some type of gift or some type of compensation. But many of the people also said they don't do this for compensation, other than just that, hey, you did a great job, thank you. And one of the things they really wanted was follow-up. They wanted to make sure that they found out what the end results were and how they themselves had been, seen as part of this study, and where they fell into, the level of the different people, of those that it didn't help or did help. They just wanted feedback and understanding that what they did get recognized and was part of something that was going to help people with pain. They also talked a lot about the fact that they needed their family's understanding and help. So one of the things that many people suggested was having a family member also be a part of the initial introduction to the study, so that they understood how important it was that the person was participating, and get that family member to feel like they were part of the study. Because if they are helping with travel, or if they are helping the patient understand the protocols, and maybe even evaluating and saying, hey, you forgot to take your medication, or you forgot to take time to write in your journal, or whatever it was, that the family member may be of value to the individual to help them get through this process, and then therefore helpful to the researcher and the research study. So possibly even compensating the family members, or finding a way of making them feel that they could contribute and understand why their family member, why the patient wanted to be a part of the study. And the final thing that people mentioned was fear. So many of them were fearful, and not so much about what would happen to them if they were taking a certain drug or participating in a certain study, but more just not understanding all the aspects of the study, or how it could possibly affect them. So many of them talked about having their anxiety addressed through maybe a counselor, or having someone that would be able to help them better understand up front what were the risks and what are the percentage of opportunities that those risks might come true. So all of them said at some point they felt fear, but with more communication and with more assistance, they felt much better. And it also helped them in being able to relax and really help evaluate how the treatment was affecting them, and if it was a positive or negative type of treatment that was making a difference in their life. So the big question I felt was, what direction should pain research go in the future? And this is really interesting because it's a difficult question. 76% of those that were surveyed, of 1,000 people, said that they wanted, first of all, to have better diagnostic tools. So many people with pain don't understand why they have pain or what is causing it. Many doctors don't even know the answers to those questions. And so what they said was, first off, they would like to have a test to be able to say, this is what is causing your pain, and be able to be diagnosed correctly up front, because many people with pain said they've been diagnosed with multiple different types of diagnoses, and that was difficult. So they would like to know more specifically what kind of pain they have, so that they'll know, is this chronic? Is this something that could be fixed, or something that could be helped with treatments? They also said that they felt that they wanted to have a cure. That was their main thing, obviously, was to have a cure. But what we've been trying to talk to patients about is how long it takes to be able to find the underlying cause of certain types of pain, and how long it would take to find a cure. And so maybe they would be better off if they looked at it from a different standpoint. And not only should the patients maybe look at this from a different standpoint, but those healthcare providers and the researchers and those in government that are looking at and helping the patient, maybe they should look at different things too. And what I'm talking about is not just looking for treatments that are a Band-Aid. Maybe we could look at the things that over the past 30 years, we've done lots of research that has shown that there are other things that can be beneficial to people with chronic pain. Yes, drugs can be very helpful. Medical devices can be helpful. Complementary and alternative treatments can be helpful. Mind-body practices and natural substances, CBD, and even herbs and things along those lines. But what we've done in our research is we've kind of looked at, let's take acupuncture as an example. Yes, it looks like acupuncture is helpful for people with pain. But then we go back to that concept of subsets, how not everyone with pain is the same, and how we might need to personalize treatments for people, and how we may have to look at research and divide people out, not just by the fact that they have pain, but what kind of pain they have, the duration of pain, and those other issues that we talked about. And so if we could take it and look at different things, so how does someone who is on a specific medication, which is helping them, be additionally helped by maybe a complementary or alternative treatment? And how could we make sure that these people have the guidance that they need? One of the problems that the pain patients talked about was they see research that says such and such helps, but they don't know how they could possibly utilize it, where to get it. So for example, use physical therapy. Well, what physical therapy? What type of physical therapy? What kind of physical therapist should I see? There's many physical therapy centers in my neighborhood. Which one is best? Excuse me. So helping to do research to find things that, based on people's, maybe their personality, or based on the type of illness, or based, like I said, on the kind of pain they have, to be able to help them and guide them through prioritization and a way to be able to better understand these other types of treatments that could be helpful, that maybe their healthcare provider doesn't necessarily have enough information or the ability to refer them to. And so helping these patients through research to be able to do more self-management and to use complementary and sometimes even alternative treatments to help them in their struggle against pain. This, I think, is so important because the pain patients, what I am finding right now is a huge feeling of hopelessness. With COVID and all of these other issues going on, most pain patients oftentimes just go into seclusion. And now with COVID, we've had patients say, nothing's changed for me. I'm already hidden away at home. And I, again, am now just staying at home because that's what we have to do. So I think that if we can find research that can help bring patients out, obviously with COVID, we have to social distance, but when things get better, we have to help these patients who are very socially isolated. And we need to find ways through some type of emotional support, cognitive support, therapies, be able to find ways to help them to be able to feel like they can come out and not feel that people are going to not understand the fact that they're living with pain and they do have limitations. So all of these things are extremely important on the patient journey. And that's what we need to do, is have research that helps these patients as they journey through trying to overcome and improve their pain. So we asked them, what are some of the general thoughts and some of the things that you feel that the healthcare provider, as well as the researchers, need to know about you and living with chronic pain? One of the main things they said was in research, they felt that any type of treatment should improve their pain by at least 30%. The other thing they said is it should improve at least 50% of people with pain, 30%. So they felt that sometimes, again, they used the word guinea pig, that if they are getting a medication or getting a treatment that only improves their pain a small amount, it's not worth it because oftentimes they have to pay for it themselves. But if they're going to have 30% improvement, that is worthwhile. But they also said if there's too many side effects, too much cost, those things are going to also contribute to not wanting to try or not wanting to take part in a particular treatment modality. The other thing they said is that we need more research. Obviously, this is very true, and obviously this is what we're trying to work on, is really focus in on pain research. And I think that because of the opioid crisis, so many patients are not aware of all the time, money, and hard work that's going into research for people with chronic pain. They keep hearing, that the opioids are causing addiction and problems, and so their doctors are not giving them these medications, and these patients are feeling abandoned again. But what they need to know is that the research is there and that we are trying to find new ways to improve research and that there are more monies to help support it. And I think that this will help the patients greatly and will also encourage them to want to become a part of the pain research when it is available and when people are looking for those people to take part in clinical trials. They also said that they need help with technology. Things have changed where they have to report using electronic diaries and different types of reporting systems on computers and things. And many people, especially when they're in pain and having cognitive difficulties, have a hard time. So having things be as simple as possible and having access to people to help them to get through the technology would be very important to them. They also said that they want more hand-holding. They feel sometimes when they're part of a study that they're out there on their own and they don't know how to act or how to think or what to do. I think just additional communication is going to be very important and will improve the outcomes of the studies. They also felt that the way to report their pain was not accurate. Many people oftentimes show them a happy face or a sad face. Only 12% of the people in the survey said that they felt that that was a good way to report their pain. Some of them did say the linear scale, the 1 to 10. About 46% felt that that was a fairly decent way to report their pain, but 74% said they really felt they needed to use words, adjectives. They needed to be able to point to different parts of their body. They needed to be able to really share through the intensity of the emotion that they felt with their pain, to be able to have a healthcare provider understand, or a researcher understand what kind of pain they were in. Many people also said that it was difficult to report their pain because they had nothing to compare it to. And they also said that because they live in pain all the time, it's hard to even imagine what it would be like to be a zero without pain. So we need to work on new ways for the patients to be able to help share what level of pain they're in before they go into any type of research or any type of treatment, and what they feel like during and after. They also want to be able to better understand what that means. You know, if you're a 4 on a linear scale, is that an average amount of pain for most people? So they would like to know more about different kinds of pain and what other people's experience with pain is. So we had a lot of answers. We have a lot more questions and answers through the survey, which we could always share with you if you have an interest. But I also wanted to share one last thing, and that was a comment that many people made and many people wanted me to share to you. And this is what it is. It says, "My pain is real. It severely impacts every aspect of my life. Please do something different to help me." I think that says it all, and I hope that the information I shared with you today has been beneficial. I really appreciate the fact that you are interested in the patient's perspective, and I want you to know that they will continue to work hard to share the information and the experiences they've had so that they can make your job easier. Thank you so much.